Hello, this is the first part of Popular Monster by Neon Sangetsu for now. Link will be in the description. All author's notes have been removed between chapters. Also, any NSFW scene will be removed. This part will cover Chapter 1 to 4. Chapter 1. You're not real, are you? You don't look real. What? Of course I'm real. All right, prove it. Tilda? Popular Monster, a streak of fire tore through the night sky just above Menagerie. Like a falling meteor from on high, it carved its way across the heavens, a veritable lance flung by the gods themselves toward Earth. Trailed by beautiful embers, bright and bold in gold, it looked like a great wound in the world itself. She'd never seen the like before. Truly, there had never been a lovelier sight in the night than this. Kaylee amused herself by watching it from her window, if only because she had nothing better to do this evening. I wonder where you came from, she murmured aloud as she watched the bright, burning sight. What stories could you tell me? Whatever it wasn't a shooting star. They were vague and nebulous, burned bright and quickly, gone in a blink. This strange astral visitor had been searing its way across the sky for the better part of an hour now, and still it seemed no closer than before. A distant promise, never to be realized, just like life on Menagerie. Bah! The faunus flung up her hands and paced away from the window. Oh, what am I getting so worked up about? It's probably just a comet or something. Nothing to worry about. Life would continue on as it always had. And that, you see, was the problem. Sometimes a girl craved a little change, excitement, and life on Menagerie was so woefully dull these days. There was nothing to see, hardly anything to do, no new faces beyond those she already knew. All her life she'd lived her, and in all likelihood she would die here, as her mother had before her and her mother before her. Boring, it was boring. So very, very boring. The night held no answers for her, naught beyond the faint chirp of crickets, and she soon lost patience. Of course she did. She was only 17 after all, filled with the vim and vigour of youth. Kylie wanted to go out and see the world. She wanted to make a difference. Not hide away here on this tiny island with the rest of her kin. She wanted to be something. Be somebody. In time, perhaps, this burning desire would Kaylee's gaze turned back to the comet in question, drawn by its otherworldly glow. It seemed so close now, yet so far, as if she could reach out and touch it. For a wonderful moment she imagined she could, envisioned herself cradling that distant pinprick of light in her palm like a glowing pearl. Ha! As if she could do such a thing. A flight of fancy, nothing more. She laughed and mimed a lazy yanking motion with her fist, trying to pluck it from the sky, though she knew it wasn't possible. The thought of it amused her nevertheless. She yanked again, imagining what might happen. And then it dove. Struck from the sky by the very gods themselves, it hurtled toward the island. Towards her. Wait, what? Kaylee bolted upright with a yelp, eyes widening. Did I do that? Before her very eyes, the comet curved and struck the island at speed. Then it bounced. Once, twice, thrice. It kept right on going, tearing a roaring red path through the trees. Bark burst. Roots rent themselves asunder as timber flew through the air. Sparks caught against dry summer grass to light a fire, and in moments the flames began to spread. Cries went up from the village. Within moments the alarm was wounded and the entire island was alerted. Kaylee never noticed any of this, you see, because she was otherwise occupied. With a terrible sound not unlike that of thoroughly abused drum, the falling light stopped skipping across the island and ground to a halt just below her balcony. The last of its momentum slammed down en masse, forming an impressive crater at her doorstep. Black smoke billowed up and she choked on it, coughing harshly. Well, she'd longed for excitement. Wish granted. Hurdling the railing, the young faunus alighted in a pointed crouch below and rose thrice as quickly. Menagerie didn't raise a girl to be anything less than fit after all. Still, she didn't approach the crater. Fear gripped her heart in an iron vice, strangling any semblance of sense. Her right foot inched forward, then snapped back as she heard a noise well within the rim. It sounded almost like, Kaylee? Her shoulders jolted as she heard a voice call within the house. What was that? Are you all right? Curiosity got the better of the cat. Muttering a half-hearted reply to her family, she took the plunge and crept closer. Golden eyes squinted against the haze. Raising an arm against her mouth, she dared to lean over the lip of the deep divot. What she saw there stole her breath away and threatened to shatter her sheltered world entire. That wasn't a space rock down there. That was a person. Oh! A little Carly cooed in the back of her head. This was just like one of those fantasy novels she liked so much. I get it now, her frantic mind babbled. I must be dreaming. Must have been that wine Sienna gave me. This can't be real. Exciting things don't happen here. How little she knew. But delusional or not, the thought lightened Kaylee's heart and banished her worries like a sea breeze. She dared one step forward, then another. Another now. Surely if this was a dream, she had nothing to fear, did she? Nope, nothing at all. Everyone knew you couldn't get hurt in a dream. And if this was some fancy of her imagination, well, might as well see where it lead, no? She drew her skirt up and slid down into the crater, dirt and debris crumbling beneath her sandal-clad feet. Already she could see the stranger rising within, shaking himself like a wet god. That hurt? Oh, wow, her mind babbled. He's well fit. At this range, it was impossible not to notice him. Blonde eyes framed by a strong jawline, whiskered cheeks and a shaggy mop of blonde hair. He was definitively of the male persuasion. His clothes were a tattered mess, black and orange rags burnt over a ragged mesh shirt exposing his torso to the world. Those trousers weren't much better. There wasn't a scratch on him. Yet more proof this was a dream. You couldn't fall from a height like that and not get hurt. It just wasn't possible. Hello there, she waved at him. And who might you be? The newcomer rounded on her. Blue eyes narrowed intently, and while he didn't quite crouch, there could be no denying the sudden tension in his shoulders. Who in blazes are you? He touched a hand to his forehead. Never mind that, where am I? Blue eyes fraught with confusion glanced about. I was fighting Kaguya, I think. His brow furrowed yet further as she looked upon him. Everything's fuzzy. Kaylee glimpsed the strange mark on his hand and frowned at it. Right, act friendly. Wouldn't do to spook the poor lad. This wasn't one of those dreams, was it? She'd not had one of those in a while. How quaint. Well, aren't you an odd one? Kaylee felt her ears begin to twitch as she regarded him. Tell me, who or what are you? Alas, her tongue betrayed her completely and she began to babble despite her best efforts. A warrior? A doctor, perhaps? Something else? Something more? Less? Well, that's a lot of questions. The young man recoiled, rocking back on his heels. To answer the first one, Naruto. That's my name, I guess. Does that help? Splendid. That settled introductions. Now that's a fine name, isn't it? She closed the distance and grasped his hands in hers. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto. I'm Kali. She shook his hands heartily. You're not real, are you? He made a noise of confusion when she reached up to pinch one of his cheeks. You don't look real, but you feel real. Her ears perked up. Maybe I should test. On a whim, she pushed close and pressed her lips to his. Those felt real, too. What? Of course I'm real. He jerked out of her grasp with a growl. Why are you saying that? And why'd you kiss me? Why, because this is a dream, of course. She shrugged. That or you're a figment of my imagination. A finger touched itself to her cheek. I'm not sure which. Doesn't matter, I suppose. Another shrug as he continued to sputter. You're a faunus, aren't you? When she received only silence, Kaylee frowned against it. What else would you be? The young man blinked. All right, you've lost me. What in blazes is a faunus? Kaylee blinked at that. Once, twice, thrice now. You don't know what a faunus is? No. The blonde all but bit out the words. I just said that. That was absurd. Even a child knew what a faunus was. It would be one thing for him to claim not to be one. Many denied their heritage all the time, but for him to not even know, that implied something altogether less pleasant, something impossible, something straight out of her books. One of the more exciting ones. Did you hit your head or something? His brow twitched. This, from the girl that kissed me out of the blue. Realization dawned. Oh. Kaylee's face began to burn. Oh dear. But she had... Her mind slowed to a crawl as she began to comprehend the enormity of what she'd just done. All hands, full stop. She looked left, looked right, and found no escape. The consequences of her actions caught up to her at once, and there was no mercy. Unbidden, her tongue flitted out, tasting her lips, imagining his against hers again. Gah! No. Bad kitty! Deny, deny, deny. This wasn't happening. Full denial. This was a dream. Absolutely. Nothing more. Well, Kaylee coughed into a fist to hide her flush. This is a very strange dream indeed. Naruto flung up his arms. This ain't a dream! As far as first impressions went, there's nothing short of memorable. A wayward warrior and a girl with an overactive imagination, one who thought him little more than a passing dream. Two strange souls meeting across the universe like two ships passing in the night. A fox and a cat, none the wiser of what this meeting would transpire. Their union would forever alter the face of Remnant. But for better or worse, who could say? Chapter 2. I'm not a god. I'm as real as any one of you are. I have hopes. I have dreams. Don't call me a god. Tilda, Monster Menagerie was beautiful. In hindsight, that was the first word that came to Naruto's mind when he saw the island by day. Make no mistake, it was an island. Not a terribly large one, but an island nonetheless. Warm ground caressed his feet as he walked in the market. Lush green forests greeted his eyes, coupled with white sands and crystal blue water as far as he could see. It was a paradise in spite of its size. To say nothing of the people. So, many people. Everywhere he looked, he saw those who weren't quite human. Men with horns and fangs, women with tails and scales. Some of them even had gills. More than a few looked upon him with quiet awe as he walked by. He didn't much like the reverence in their eyes, least of all the way they looked upon him like he was something more than them. Knowing why only made it worse. He had no one to blame but himself. You didn't fall from the sky and scar an island without drawing some notice. Perhaps had he been more cognizant last night, he would have said something to the people. Tried to run damage control before the fair folk of Menagerie made their own assumptions. As things stood, he'd been too tired to even consider the ramifications of his actions. Carly had offered him a guest room and he'd gone to bed almost immediately. By the time he'd woken and had breakfast, it was too late. The rumour mill was in full spin. Just remembering what he'd dealt with this morning made his head hurt. Lead us. A crowd of people all but bowed before him. Teach us! Me? What did I do? Naruto cast a helpless gaze over his shoulder. A little help? No, Kaylee waved him on with a smile. You seem to have your new followers well in hand. Carry on. Kali! All right. Give the man some space, people. He shook his head and banished the memory as he slipped through the streets after her. These people weren't simple by any means or measure. He'd simply done the impossible in their eyes. Apparently, one miracle could be written off as something called a semblance, and he still didn't know what that was. But he had gone well past that. Maybe he shouldn't have spammed those shadow clones to clear up that MEs, or fetch all that food, or help people, or a lot of things. The list went on. All this, just because he just wanted to help. Now, far as these folk were concerned, he was the second coming of their god, which was something of a problem, because last he checked, he wasn't one. You may as well be one to these people. Kurama's input only made matters worse. Use your senses. Not a single soul here has chakra. Not as we know it. On a whim, Naruto did just that. Sure enough, the truth alarmed him. Some of these people certainly had something, but whatever it wasn't chakra. Was it? Strange. It didn't feel like chakra. Had he fallen into a new world, or simply the future? He had no way of knowing, and that frightened him. We're far from home, aren't we? A jaw-popping yawn answered him. Seems like it. Well, he'd never been one to falter in the face of adversity, and he wasn't about to now. Even now, the sheer press of people threatened to overwhelm him. He had not been neck-deep in bodies like this since the war. Not since... No, don't think about that. When he reached for his memories, he found a gaping tear in his mind, a wound that still hadn't quite healed. Would it ever? His smile soured. Deep breaths now, dream boy. Kaylee patted his arm as she sashayed past, hips swaying. Follow me and don't get lost. Oi? Naruto laughed and took the distraction for what it was. I already told you this ain't a dream. I know. A golden orb winced over her shoulder. It's just fun to tease you. Now come on. Naruto rolled his eyes and waded in after the grinning girl. I think a Bijudama would sort her out. Kurama, no. No blasting the island. Just a suggestion. He took comfort in what little she'd told him of this place as they made their way into the market. Menagerie wasn't all that large compared to most places he'd been. Nearly 2/3 of the landmass was comprised of desert, forcing the resident faunas to congregate on smaller areas like this, thus resulting in small and dense settlements. The biggest settlement here was its capital, Quo-Quana, in which he currently found himself. It wasn't a bad place, per se. He just felt hemmed in. No doubt many of the folk here felt the same. 2/3 desert, eh? Maybe we should do something about that. Naruto nearly missed a step. Can we? We couldn't before. We can now. You know why. When did you get so proactive? What can I say? His partner chortled. I'm feeling generous. Must be all the worship. Oi! He really could prove Kali wrong if he waned to. And there was a long dormant piece of him, now awake, that was tempted. While she may have accepted his existence, she'd all but denied the possibility of him hailing from another world in its entirety. Honestly, it made him a bit cross. She'd realize the truth sooner or later. That, at least, would be something to look forward to. Aha! There we are. Kaylee's voice snapped him back to reality. Say what now? Hey, Alicia. Rather than answer, she glided past him to approach a fruit stand and a girl with long rust-red hair lingering behind it. 1 mango, please. Brown eyes flicked to him. Not getting one for your boy? Kaylee sighed. He's not mine. No? Her fellow faunus grinned, resting her elbows upon the counter. Could have fooled me. Seems to be sticking pretty close to you. Fine, 2 mangoes. Naruto blinked, somewhat taken aback, and considered the woman anew. Her skin was a dusky shade of brown, flecked with odd spots beneath the sunny white dress she wore. Or were they scales? The woman noticed his stare and those spots shifted, visibly changing colour to a light red before tamping back down to a muted green. He jolted a little at the sight. Well, he muttered, that's certainly something. I know you. Keen eyes regarded him in return. You're that one what fell from the sky, ain't ya? She leaned back, propping herself up against a post. The one everyone's calling a god. A spot of high colour hit his cheeks. I'm really not. Naruto, meet Alicia Amitola. Kaylee waved a hand between the two of them. She's a good friend of mine. Chameleon faunus, if you're wondering. Single, too, your holiness. The younger girl winked. Naruto nearly choked on his mango. Alicia. What? She received a self-same smile and a shrug. Can't a girl be honest? I don't much believe the rumours myself, but he did fall out of the sky and pull some pretty incredible stuff after all that. Golden eyes narrowed to hooded slits. How much do I owe you? Darling, the show was payment enough. Heh, she's got fire. I like her. Gimme that! Kaylee all but snatched the fruit up, grabbed Naruto by the arm and dragged him aside. He managed a wave over his shoulder. Alicia returned it wholeheartedly. See you around, Whiskers. Ignore her, Kaylee muttered not a minute later. She's crazy. Crazy, huh? Naruto turned a bland look upon the cat faunus. I'm beginning to think you're no exception that rule. Haha, very funny. She swatted at his arm. Don't quit your day job, dear. Her words, spoken in jest, hit him like a sledgehammer. The smile slipped from his face and the ground threatened to open up beneath his feet. Job. Purpose. What was his here? What should he do? What indeed? He had done his best to repair the damage made by his little crash landing, but now what? Where did he go from here? Moreover, where could he go? Kurama swore softly. Oh boy, I don't have one. Kaylee found herself dragged to a halt. I'm sorry? I said I don't have one. Naruto whirled away and lengthened his stride to pace. I don't know why I'm here, how to find my way home, or even what happened. And he didn't. Try as he might, he couldn't recall when or how he'd landed here. There had been a battle, hadn't there? They'd won, hadn't they? He recalled doing something to someone, but the rest was a grainy blur of static. His memories twisted and tattered in spite of his best efforts to marshal them. All right? He blinked, realizing Kaylee had caught him by the arm. With the other, she drew him close and laid a hand on his. Strange as it might sound, that concerned look of hers gave him strength. Right then. If he couldn't think something to do, then he would find something. He had to. He must. If only because the alternative threatened to drive him mad. I will be. He swallowed his fear and straightened. Hey, I could help out a little more, you know. I'm stronger than I look. Kaylee misunderstood and flushed. The day I believe, that is the day mankind walks on water. Miracles only happen once. Bull. He grabbed her by the wrist. She bridled. Wait, what are you doing? Come with me. He tugged her toward the coast and the world blurred. 0.0, 0.0. A meteor struck Menagerie. Ozpin considered the report before him. Perhaps he ought to have someone investigate. 0.0, 0.0. Ha! What say you now? Kaylee blinked. Once. Twice. Thrice. When Naruto first brought her down to the shore, she'd not thought much of it. Maybe he wanted to go swimming. Clear his head. Something like that. Boys did that sometimes. No, she hadn't deemed it worthy of any real concern. And why should she? Naruto was a strange sort, all right, but she was sure he was normal. Until he did this. Men didn't walk on water. It just wasn't done. It couldn't be. Is that a semblance? She touched one hand to her mouth to hide her awe. No, it's chakra. So, let's see here. She tilted her head and began to count off the fingers of one hand. You can walk on water, create blasts of energy, and run faster than light. What are you, Monty or something? You pulling my leg here, Buster? Naruto crashed down into the ocean with a laugh. Again with that? You keep distracting me. Kaylee giggled behind her hand. It's what I do, dear. As she looked on, her peculiar blonde thrashed his way upright and somehow found traction on the glass surface of the sea. Sopping wet, he shrugged his way out of his jacket, revealing the thin mesh shirt beneath. Wow. That was certainly something, wasn't it? He whipped the soaked garment toward shore, where it landed with a wet splat. His shirt joined it soon thereafter. Oh. He was certainly well fit, wasn't he? He caught her staring, the fox devil. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Oh, no. Kaylee waved a hand to fan herself. Was it hot in here? By all means, continue. Hey, if he was going to offer her a show, then she was going to watch. Nothing wrong with that. Blue eyes met gold. You're drooling. Not at all. She hurriedly dabbed at her chin. By all means, dance on, or whatever you're doing. His eyes flashed. You want to dance? I'll show you a dance. He blurred back toward the shore. Toward her. Wait, what are you doing? Quick as a flash, he grabbed her by the hands and raced back out onto the water. He didn't sweep her into his arms as she thought he might. On the contrary, he simply set her feet atop his, took her palms in his and did a quick backstep. Then another, followed by another. Yet another. In a matter of moments, they were out of the shallows altogether. Gah! She clung onto him. Don't you dare let go! Wouldn't dream of it. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Relax, we're fine, a shadow passed underfoot. Kaylee only saw it in her peripheral vision. A sudden shifting of something in the waters below. Naruto was the one who reacted first. He absolutely blurred. Move! He whirled and flung her back into the water. In the same instant, a towering pair of jaws burst from the sea and swallowed him whole. The rest of its body soon followed, a towering bulk thrusting itself up out of the depths. Kaylee didn't even have time to scream before she plunged into the dark. Her world dissolved into a whirl of bubbles. Caught unawares, she thrashed upright. What she saw down there tore a scream from her. There was something down there, its long undulating body writhing and twisting as it fought its way to the surface. Grim. Not just any Grim. Long. What was one of those doing this close to shore? A hand stabbed through the water and hauled her to safety. Kaylee fought instantly, not quite comprehending what was happening. You're all right. The smiling face of a shadow clone beamed back at her. He's fine. Watch. Drenched and quivering, she had a prime view of what followed. Indeed, she saw it all. The Grim saw them and reared back, its mouth aglow with light. Then it twitched. Its maw continued to glow, not with lightning, but something else altogether. A low growl built in the air, muffled by its bulk. It keened angrily, writhing in pain. Something roared, and it wasn't the beast. Only a heartbeat later, Naruto burst from the beast's belly in a rush of golden light. Even as he flew through the air, he did something with his hands and became something else altogether. The light intensified around him and took on the guise of a great gilded fox rimmed with black markings, 9 tails in all. It engulfed him, surrounding him, protected him. Yet she could see him all the came, clear as day in the creature's skull. So too did she hear the cry that followed. Kurama? Strong jaws fastened upon the beast's neck, all but eviscerating his jugular. A keening whine filled the air. The Long reared back and the fox mirrored it instantly. Light met light, and the former yielded to the latter. The Grim didn't stand a chance. Naruto's blast blew clean through its upper torso and hurtled across the horizon. For a moment, Kaylee wondered if it would just keep going. Thumb! Heat, light, fire. Those were the only words she could think to describe the apocalypse that followed. The sky cried. The ocean boiled. The entire island quaked. Carly Belladonna saw destruction as she'd never seen before. Well, there went a mountain somewhere in Mistral. Anything that blast hit was gone. Those back on the island must have seen it too. They had to. You'd have to be blind to miss this. He said he wasn't a god, and she believed him. Naruto was many things, but divine? Certainly not. He didn't act like it, didn't want it. So how did one describe what she'd just seen? The answer was simple. He was a monster. Good? Evil. It didn't matter, not one bit of it. Not after witnessing this. And yet, when she saw his face, he looked almost sad somehow. With neither word nor warning, the fox dissolved, leaving its rider to fall. Naruto alighted upon the massive Grimm's crumbling remains and rode them to shore. Only then did he turn to face her, arms folded behind his head. The smile he wore was as false as the cheer in his eyes, if only because he knew just how badly he'd scared her. Do you believe now? Kaylee nodded numbly. Can I keep you? Naruto sputtered and flailed his arms. Excuse me? That tore it. She started to laugh. What else could she say? He was certainly a popular monster, and he was going to be hers, if she had anything to say about it. Chapter 3. Love is a dagger. It's a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. You can see yourself in it. It's beautiful, until it makes you bleed. But ultimately, when you reach for it, what are you going to say it's not there? Bull! It is there. I know it. You know it. But now you want to run away. Because you're scared. Because you think feeling something for someone beyond mere lust is weakness. And weakness gets you killed. That's where you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with a little fear. I'm scared too. So very afraid. Absolutely terrified. I've never felt anything like this before. And you know what? I'm going to face it. So the question remains. Will you? Go on. Give me your answer. I'm right here. Tilda a future scene. A sentimental monster, they were worshipping him now. Truly there was nothing that rankled Naruto more. After that stunt he'd pulled yesterday with Kurama, nearly every man, woman and child on this island, bar Kali, thought him a god. Some mad union of the brother gods come back to Remnant to lead them unto destiny and glory. Shouting did nothing to convince them. Pleading availed him naught. Even his brief attempt to leave had been curtailed by the sheer mass of faunus currently on his doorstep. They couldn't stop him, of course, but they all looked so damn sad when he mentioned it. Well, Kurama jibed, we did put on quite a show for them. It's only natural they'd act like this. Our very own island. Feels nice. Natural, he says. Naruto growled as he lounged atop his throne. This ain't natural. How the hell do I get out of this mess? Well, you could always run. Not like they'd be able to stop you if you really wanted to. I meant making them see sense, not dodging them for the rest of my days. In the span of only 24 hours, they'd ushered him from Kali's humble home into the chieftain's seat. There hadn't been any resistance on that front. The fellow in charge was more than happy to give it up to him when that mob hauled him up here. The cheeky bastard probably waned nothing to do with the coming storm. Naruto Uzumaki was many things, but he wasn't a coward, certainly not the sort to abandon people in need. On a fundamental level, he knew that he might appear divine to some, but really, he wasn't. Sure, he possessed incredible powers, could run terribly fast, survive being impaled, and wield destruction on a scale into unseen before in the world of Remnant. But, all right, he could see why the faunus thought he was their god reborn. But he didn't like it. Don't look at me. This is entirely on you. Kurama poked another hole in his defenses. One does not simply turn into a giant fox, butcher a massive Grimm, and annihilate several mountains without attracting attention to oneself. I did warn you. Naruto buried his head in his hands. Hopefully no one else in the world had noticed. Oh, who was he kidding? The entire world was probably aware of him now, if not necessarily his exact location. No, in the eyes of Menagerie, he must be a god, and nothing short of equally divine intervention would sway them. Pity Sasuke or Sakura weren't here. He would have flung the title at them and bolted. Instead, he found himself looking down on Menagerie with no idea what to do next. Well done. Kaylee clapped slowly at his side. What's next on the agenda? Gonna throw a wild orgy? Naruto flung a cushioned pillow at her. Not helping. Really, she was making it worse. And stop smiling. Nope. She ducked it with a girlish grin. Should see your face right now. You look like you bit into a lemon. This ain't funny. Really, it is. She winked at him. And besides, if you're not a god, then what are you? A monster? She winked at him. Isn't it better to be loved than feared? Her words stilled the retort on his tongue. There was some logic in her words, loath though he was to admit it. He could certainly blast his way out of Menagerie, harming hundreds in the process. Even if stealth failed him, and knowing his luck it would, it was well within his power to kidnap a ship's captain and commandeer a vessel for himself. He could go anywhere he wanted, and all it would cost him was a little fear. "I just don't get it," he said instead. "Why is everyone here looking up to me? I haven't done all that much." In all honesty, the people here haven't had hope in a terribly long time. She ran her fingers along the length of his right arm, provoking a shiver in him. Not since the Faunus Wars. There it was again, the mention of that bloody war that he knew nothing about. He'd have to do some reading. Books. He couldn't keep relying on Kali for every little thing, tempting though it might be. He needed to learn about this wild world he found himself in, just as he needed to discover if this really was another world, the past, or perhaps some far-flung future. "Do all the Faunus live here?" he asked instead. "The village seems cramped." "Not all, but most," Kaylee confided in him. "The world, well, how do I put this?" She looked away with a grimace. "It's not necessarily a bad place, but I wouldn't call it good either." Her hand left his arm, fingers trailing his as she moved to the balcony. The memory of the war is still fresh in the minds of many. The war that we won, and yet, a strange sensation sparked to life in Naruto's chest as he followed her. He didn't know what to make of it. "I know you're not a god." She laid her arms down on the railing. "Gods are divine, all-knowing and cold." A golden eye flashed at him over her shoulder as she stole a glance back at him. "They left us a long time ago. If they really cared about us, any of us, they would have come back a long time ago. Besides," and here she winked at him, "you're too warm to be a god." There it was again. Why did his face feel so damnably warm? Right, that settled it then. He needed some fresh air. Naruto turned away. Kaylee's gaze snapped to him. "Where are you going?" "For a walk." "That sounds nice." Kaylee shadowed him, her smile only a little anxious. "I'll go with you." Naruto frowned. "I'd rather be alone right now." She shook her head. "That's really not a good idea." His brow furrowed. "Something you'd like to tell me, Kaylee?" Maybe not so much tell as see." Her ears twitched atop her head, flattening under the weight of his stare. "The Kali." "You're gonna get mobbed, you daft boy," she burst out before he could continue. "Think for a second." A blonde brow rose. "Eh? You take one step out those doors without an escort, and I guarantee you're going to get swarmed." She stabbed a finger at the still swelling crowd below. "There's already a throng of people out there wanting to see you. If you just walk out there by yourself, all hell will break loose. Then what will you do?" "Deal with it," she frowned. "Naruto!" Now it was his turn to wince. Fine, have it your way. 0.0, 0.0. "My lord!" "Praise be to you, my lord." "Protect us from the grim, our lord." Kaylee was right. Oh, how that burned. Her smile radiated smugness. If the fervour of his arrival had been bad before, now it was at a fever pitch. People crowded around him the very moment he emerged, asking for his blessing, for his touch, for his words, as if such a thing mattered. If not for the guards she'd suggested, the two of them would have been buried straight away. Even then, moving forward required a physical act of patience on his part. The people weren't keen to move. Everyone wanted to see his face, and even when faced with the blunt end of their halberds, they still persisted. "See?" Kaylee all but preened. "Told you this would happen. Aren't you glad you listened to me?" Naruto wanted to run and hide. Really, this was getting out of hand. Had every Faunus in Menagerie come to see him off? Kaylee tugged at his wrist, forcing him to raise his right arm. The shouts that followed nearly left him deaf. Say what you would about her, but she knew how to please a crowd. "Smile and wave, dear." "Make way, blast you," a new voice cried. "I'm late." A tan woman with striped shoulders and striking golden eyes thrashed her way to the front of the crowd, looking positively harassed. Idly, Naruto noticed that she too wore the same sigil and black-on-white tabard of those tasked with protecting him. Right, protection. Because he clearly needed that. "Hey, Sienna." Kali dared a wave at the newcomer. "Why are you wearing that uniform?" "Don't read into it." The young woman huffed and planted a fist on her hip. "I'm just helping out the old man on patrol after last night." "Why didn't you tell me you were taking him out?" His friend tittered into a palm, smile gone brittle as the guardswoman slipped in between them. Must have slipped my mind. Something told Naruto it hadn't. Still, he grimaced despite himself. I really am sorry about that. My clones will have the mess cleaned up in no time, I swear. It was the wrong thing to say, because it immediately brought her attention to bear upon him. There was an edge to her gaze, a rawness Kaylee lacked. Golden eyes flitted up and down the length of him, considering him as one might a fine cut of steak. He wasn't sure he liked the hunger lurking behind those eyes. You're the guy that slammed into the island? Sienna's brow shot straight to her hairline. And fought that giant Seagrim? I call dibs. Naruto nearly choked and desperately thumped his chest with a fist. What is with the women on this island? Sienna, Kaylee cooed, you're like a sister to me, but I will cut you. I saw him first. The people pressed closer around them, muffling her reply. Just give a blessing to them and be done with it, already. Kurama's voice interposed itself over his thoughts. Trust me, they'll never stop until you do. Despite his discomfort, Naruto dared a smile. Speaking from experience? Unfortunately. Fine. With a long-suffering sigh, Naruto raised a hand. All around him, the people went still, awaiting his words. He failed for the words as the silence stretched on. Damn it! Say something! His tongue betrayed him spectacularly. Eat ramen and be well. Everyone went mad. Our Lord speaks. It's the food of the gods. Someone fetch him a bowl! At once. Kaylee coughed into a fist. Sienna slapped a palm to her forehead. Kurama was far less subtle. Dolt! I panicked, all right? Please, my lord. A woman bulled her way through, startling him before he could think to take another step. My son! He's sick! You have to help him! Naruto recoiled. What? He had all of an instant to take in brown hair, framing dark eyes, and a pale, if scarred, face, her body wrapped up in simple grey tunic off-white breeches. Then she held out a mewling babe. That, at least, he had more time to notice, if only because they were so small. With a soft crown of dark hair, wrapped in swaddling clothes, they couldn't have been more than 3 months old. He's ill, my lord. Please! The blonde bridled, keenly aware of Kali's gaze on him. That's Miss Belmont, she whispered quickly. Her son's been sick for a while. Can't she take him to a doctor or something? Naruto hissed back. Why give me to me? You think she hasn't tried? His right eye twitched. Damn her and her sense. If you do this, there will be no going back. Kurama's words were black on his heart. The feats you've done so far might be explained away or blamed on someone else, but if you go around healing people in full view of others, well, you'll make a name for yourself. Naruto knew that. It went without saying. But a baby? Screw it. He thrust his marked hand forward. Let me see him. The woman shuffled forward, all but pushing the child into his arms. Naruto stumbled for a moment but managed to right himself. The boy was light. Too light. Why was his skin grey? Have you been feeding him? He won't drink, my lord. He barely even cries. Don't call me that, he muttered, feeling a flush of shame. I'm no lord. Shifting his grasp on the boy, he tucked them into the crook of one arm and brought another, his marked palm, to bear upon him. Carefully, delicately, he pushed a thread of chakra into the tiny body, unwilling to tax his already overburdened body. What he found there alarmed him. There was a darkness in the infant's veins. Nasty stuff. Very nasty. It almost felt like poison. Who would poison a baby? And why? He echoed Kurama's concerns. Another mystery to solve. But later. For now he had work to do. He'd saved a man from the brink of death and regrown an eye. Surely he could this. It might, admittedly more difficult, but he felt himself equal to the task, if nothing. And so he turned his attention inward. To simply ignore a sick child, well, that wasn't his way. All right, focus. His chakra crept through the tiny child, this little life, and suffused it with strength, bolstering his already faltering immune system. From there it went to work on the toxins themselves, ruthlessly neutralizing them one by one. He wasn't sure how much time passed. Minutes? Hours? It felt like an eternity. The buzz of the crowd faded away, little more than an annoying bleat in the back of his brain. Before his very eyes, the babe's pallid skin regained some semblance of color. That little face screwed up, their nose wrinkled, and then Kurama rolled his eyes. Here we go. Wah! That was a healthy, lusty cry, the shriek of an infant who demanded to be fed, and fed now. Naruto jolted in surprise, but the boy's mother was there, sweeping her child away into her arms. It was the spark that started a fire in the hearts of those watching. "It's a miracle!" someone cried. "He has healing hands. Praise be." Naruto scratched his cheek and heaved a sigh as they continued to babble about him. Well, there was no stopping them now. He'd sealed his fate. A destroyer was one thing, but a healer? His name was going to be on everyone's lips for days. Was it wrong that he took a little pride in that? He'd healed that boy. That little one would live because of him. "See, he's fed." A rueful smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "What's his name?" "Trevor," she murmured, holding the mewling boy to her breast. "His name is Trevor. Trevor Belmont, eh?" Naruto touched his forehead. "Sounds real special." The babe cooed softly and his mother retreated, babbling her thanks. Kaylee pressed into his side. "Well, look at you. Didn't realize you were such a softie." His lips pursed into a thin line. "Not a word, Kaylee. I mean it." Her eyes glittered. "Softie. You'd make a good father." Naruto looked back, only to find Trevor and his mother were long gone, lost in the sea of people. "Blast it," he swore softly. "Forgot to ask her how he got sick." "You can always ask him later. I've got the measure of the boy now. Shouldn't be too hard to find him again, should he?" Strange as it might sound, he felt invested in little Trevor's well-being. What, it fell ill again? No, this was something to investigate, not forget. If some lunatic was running around poisoning children, or worse, he would put a stop to it. What kind of madman would do such a thing? Dunno. But whoever they are, they'll regret being born. On that, they were in agreement. Yes, very touching. Sienna made a grab for his arm, snapping him back to reality. "You're holding up the line. Get moving!" She turned to go, only to stop short ahead of him. He nearly walked into her back, bowling her over outright. "Not the time, Taurus." Naruto heard Kaylee growl over the crowd. "This is precisely the time," a new voice inquired, speaking in a low contralto. "Move aside." Naruto sighed. "Oh, for the love of—" "What now?" Craning his neck around Kaylee's shoulder, he found himself regarding at a fiery red-headed woman, wrapped up in dark leather armor. Her eyes were sharp and keen, her skin pale, and though her face was dirty, she looked noble despite it all. The crimson swords hanging at her hips were decidedly less so. Worse, the emotions he sensed from her were nothing short of boiling. "You're the one, then?" She considered him intently. "The god that fell out of heaven?" Kurama whistled. "Well, that's certainly a nice pair of—" Naruto coughed harshly to drown him out. "What's your name?" "My name is Anna Taurus." The blades flashed free in the light. "I would have you prove your worth. Prepare yourself." Naruto squinted. "Prepare myself for Wa-Yao!" His legs kicked backward as the twin blades flickered at his face. And then he found himself quite preoccupied with trying to stay alive. Chapter 4. Only the strongest will survive. See, that's where I disagree. Weak, strong, everyone has a right to live. Tilde a future scene. A smiling monster Naruto wasn't one for weaponry. He respected the craft, mind you. There were just some feats one could only accomplish with a blade in the hand. But, at the end of the day, he simply wasn't a fan of them. Weapons broke. Swords shattered, axes rusted, and clubs broke. He would much rather trust in the strength of his body, and, if he absolutely had to, his staff. Even then he'd rather use his fists unless he had no say in the matter. Now was such a time. "Hey!" A yelp tore out of him as Taurus struck out anew, her crimson blade passing perilously close to his face. It wasn't the speed of Anna's strike that startled him. It was the skill behind it. Even as he darted away, she did the unthinkable, pivoted on heel, accounted for his sudden movement and moved with him. She still missed, of course, but the fact that she was able to follow his movements at all was frankly alarming. Naked Steel tried to kiss his whiskered visage and failed by the narrowest margins. "Stop going for my ears. Have you lost your mind?" "Not at all." She pivoted with a smile, crossed both blades before her in an X formation, and lunged at him anew. "If anything, I've found it." A low growl built in the back of Naruto's throat as he moved to meet her. Anna Taurus gave no ground. She was offense in its purest form. Attack, attack, attack. For her, the best defense was just that, a blistering offensive that kept him on the back foot, forcing him to dodge the moment his feet touched the ground. Really, he would have admired her skill if she wasn't so hell-bent on using it against him. And if he weren't afraid of breaking her like a twig. After all, if a freaking sea dragon was that fragile, then he daren't imagine what a person was like in this world. You've shown yourself to be a healer, she hummed between blows. But are you a warrior? You're hesitating. Attack me. Hey! The slight pricked at his pride. I'm trying. Lies. He parried furiously, looking for an opening, but she just kept swinging. No matter how many times he knocked her down or sent her sprawling, she came up swinging. He would have to pin her at this rate, and there wasn't a task he was looking forward to. I keep saying. He shouldered her aside, broke her guard, and smacked her atop the head with his staff for good measure. I'm not a god. Get it through your thick skull. That remains to be seen. She rode the blow and cut out at him, causing him to sway around her sword like a leaf in the wind. Try harder. His foot slipped on a muddy patch of ground. Anna capitalized instantly on it, slamming her horned forehead into his. Stars flashed before Naruto vision to send him reeling away. With one sense momentarily handicapped, the others sharpened. In an instant, he became aware of the crowd buzzing around them, onlookers visibly vibrating with anticipation. He could feel Kaylee's eyes on him, Sienna too. Even Amatola was watching, and he was making a fool of himself. What the hell am I doing? A thorn of pride pricked at Naruto's heart and drew blood. He clenched his teeth. Kurama stirred from his slumber. Finally going to try, are we? An icy sense of calm pervaded his being. Just a little. Anna scoffed. Talking to yourself now. Have you finally lost your head? Naruto didn't dignify her barb with a verbal response. There was no need. He flowed up into Anna's guard and struck. A small part of him relished the shock that flitted across her face, the way her blue eyes widened, wild red hair lofting in the breeze of his sudden arrival. His heel hooked hers, then swept her legs, leaving her unbalanced at pivotal moment. The instant her feet left the ground, he stepped in. Not to catch her, oh no, his intent was far from that. Chakra shrieked in his palm, eager to be unleashed. Anna saw it and hissed out a curse. Shit! He didn't shout out the name of his technique, for he felt no anger towards her. He understood now. The only way to stop someone like her was to defeat them. Beat them so badly that they'd come to realize the error of their ways. A flick of his wrist drove a maelstrom of a crushing light into her stomach. Rasengan. The result was rather impressive if he said so himself, if only because Anna hurtled away like a flung stone. Bystanders scrambled out the way with all due haste, leaving her to hurtle from the square. Sheer momentum smashed her into a food stall, spraying produce in every direction. Someone took offense to that. My cabbages! Naruto glanced back with a wince. I'm sorry. Don't be! Sienna hooted from the sidelines. Happens all the time. Also, on your left. Naruto whirled with a sigh. Sure enough, Anna was already righting herself behind him. She looked fresh as a daisy, raring for another round. He could clearly see the tear in her vest where he'd struck true, nearly ruining it altogether. Heat crept into his cheeks as he glimpsed her taut stomach. His eyes flowed up, noticing the generous mound of her left breast, nearly exposed by the damage he'd done. Naruto flung up his arms. Stay down. Anna Taurus ran her hands through the wild mane of her hair, shaking bits of pestle and produce from her scarlet tresses. She was still smiling, but now that smile held an edge, a sword unsheathed. It was the look of one who had been searching for something and finally found their heart's desire. Naruto wasn't sure he liked the look of it. That's more like it. Her voice emerged as a low contralto, a near-throaty growl. I felt that. How are you still standing? I have my ways. She closed the distance between them in an instant, forcing him to brave his staff with both hands. Is it just me, or is she hitting harder? On that, they were in agreement. Something was amiss here. For all her aggression, all her fire, she was cold as ice, all too calm. She did not rage like some wild beast. She struck with deadly precision, lashing out with measure strikes. One of her twin blades swept out at him and he kicked himself off, launching away to relative safety. His feet hit a crumbling wall and he sprang off it just before she cut it down. Blue eyes bulged at the noticeable bump in agility. You'll never win anything if you keep running away, she catcalled after him. I could say the same of you. He leaped over her blade and slighted atop its edge, startling her terribly. Stay down. A spinning kick sent her sprawling out into someone's yard, hopes dashed among the green grass. She tried to spring back up, but here at last, her feet failed her. Naruto lowered his leg, not quite willing to do the same with his guard. You done? Not quite. Her gaze rose. Just give me a moment. As he looked on, she pushed a pale palm against the grass, fingers fisting against a portion of it. Dull red light pulsed from her hand. Before his very eyes, it changed. What was once vibrant and full of life became dull and grey, crumbling away to sand under her palm. As he looked on, her wounds closed and vitality came rushing back into her once pallid visage. Oi! Amatola hollered. Don't go killing my grass! So that's it. Kurama confirmed his suspicions a moment later. It must be her semblance. She drains energy from her surroundings. Small wonder she was able to get back up after a Rasengan. Sorry, not sorry. Anna swayed back to her feet, wholly at her ease. Well, ready for round 3? She raised her longer blade. I can do this all day. She probably can. The kitsune ruminated. Stop holding back already. You'll only embarrass yourself at this rate. On that, they were in full agreement. I think we'll end it with the next exchange. Her eyes flashed. Well said. Prepare. Blue eyes closed as she barreled forward. They blazed gold beneath orange lids. Her blade swept down. Sage-empowered palms rose to meet it, catching the blade between them. Anna froze. His hands twisted, snapping the weapon in half, steel shattering like so much brittle glass. Those same hands licked over his shoulder, hurling her weapon away, then the other when attempted the same trick. Her broken blades flew into the air, end over end they spiraled, down into the dirt and buried themselves there. Rah! Here at last, Anna snarled, abandoning her composure. She made a blind grab for him, but having witnessed her gift firsthand, he already knew better than to left her a handhold. In a flash, he caught her by the wrists and wrestled her down. A knee came down between her breasts and pushed, crushing against her chest with terrible pressure. He reached up and caught one of her falling blades, pressing it to her throat. Jagged steel kissed her jugular. Her entire body tensed beneath him. Naruto leaned forward, glaring golden eyes boring into her crafty cerulean. Stay, down. Anna's entire body tensed beneath him and he prepared for another round. He wasn't prepared for her laughter. It began as a soft snicker, the tiniest twitch of Anna's lips, so small that Naruto nearly thought he imagined it at first. A giggle followed soon thereafter. Before he could think to ask what she found so funny, the bull faunus began to laugh outright, utterly uncaring of the danger she was in. Her body convulsed in a fit of raucous laughter, mirthful tears rolling down her cheeks. As I thought. Much to his annoyance, the fiery-haired woman granted him a grin. You're not all talk after all. Much to his chagrin, she reached up and grabbed the steel at her throat. It's my loss, your lordship. Kill me if you wish. Naruto all but sprang off her. What? No. Why would I? Then I will be you, guard. She took the chance to rise, but not to stand. Instead, the swordswoman knelt and laid her blades at his feet. My life for you, my body for you. And my swords are yours. Her gaze flitted down. Well, they will be once I repair them. Sienna whistled. Damn! Did she just propose? Amatullah tilted her head. I think she did. Kylie twitched. Excuse you? In all fairness, Naruto had no way of knowing who he was speaking to. The mother of one Adam Taurus. A boy who would be a hero or a demon. A savior or a slayer. Fate had decided which yet. Right now, he was too busy trying to ponder what the hell he'd just blundered into. A foghorn cut his musings mercifully short. He craned his neck towards it and frowned, somewhat alarmed to find a massive vessel steaming its way into the harbour. Judging by the silence that followed in its wake, that wasn't a good thing. And that is... Sienna turned her head aside and spat upon the ground. In the end, she uttered only one word. Atlas.